Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick video on just a timeline of what it looks like for the growth of a store because I think some folks are either a little bit impatient or they just don't understand the interval nature of this business, which, you know, whether it was at Discovery Day or one-on-one conversations or my business calls that I used to do, the ramp up period is talked about ad nauseum, and it's important with marketing to understand what different functions do, not what's effective, not necessarily what's effective, what works, but like having a core understanding of what's actually going on when you do marketing. And so, real quick, I've got the North for Sale store pulled up because I think it's the best. It's the best story that illustrates the oil change only model. You'll have to forgive this first year. Square, once you change the name of the location, it creates a new funnel for that. And when we first opened the Pittsburgh store, it was not Costa Oil. It was called Pittsburgh Oil Change, and then we changed to the Costa Oil branding. And then at one point, we just had every store named after the town they were in, and then we changed it again to the current format. So anyway, we're going to go on this journey together going through the North for Sales store. Now, North for Sales was a store. It was called Auto Bathhouse. We took it over. They were doing 8 cars a day when we took it over, and they sold tires, brakes. They did U-Haul. They did the blow, the Instalock blowing for DUI folks. And they were really doing what I considered the death by 1,000 cuts, which is another video that I suggest everybody watch. That's an older one. I'm going to rewatch it before I post it to the Slack channel to make sure it still applies. But let's go through this. So that first month, whenever I take over a new store, I largely don't change anything. We just change the bank account and the point of sale system, and we tell the guys just go ahead and run it how you think you should run it. That second month is when we start saying, okay, let's start implementing our customer service side of things. Let's start implementing our own branding, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually we start implementing the peeling back of other services, which may be revenue generators, whether it's U-Haul or whether it's the Instalock, etc. So that first month they were averaging about 8 cars a day. That put them at $12,000 in sales. Our pricing back then was a lot less. Our full synthetic oil change was $62.95, and our synthetic blend was, I believe, $29.95. That pricing held through basically until 2020 was when we started making price changes to our offering. All right, as you see, there was some growth until August, and then there was a steep drop off here, and that's when we took away tires. Once we took away tires, that was a big moneymaker. It was very important for me to get the manager on the same page as me in terms of the oil change only model, because this is usually when you lose a key employee. When they see sales go from 19, almost 20,000 to 16, that makes them a little bit worried. But what is necessary is to have people on staff who believe in the model that you are pitching. Now, guys who are very consumer centric, they usually are not good at sales because they put themselves in the consumer shoes, but they are also usually the ones that are most likely to buy into our model because they understand that the consumer wants the oil change only model. All right, so let's fast forward to 2018. We'll see the progression of North for Sales a little bit. We still did not hit that $20,000 a month post getting rid of tires until May, but once we hit it, we never looked back. And all of a sudden, in month 15, 16, 17, we start seeing the exponential nature of the oil change business. We'll go to 2019. We finally hit 30,000 in the July month of its third year in business. We fluctuated a little bit, dropped down to 27 in September. That's normal. As you can see, the trends here are very obvious. Most of you are seeing these trends, with Friday being your best day, Saturday being your second best day, Monday being your third best day. And then it's usually a coin flip for which one's going to be your worst day. We go to 2020, obviously we will see this fun dip right about here. We would, and this is when we also changed the name from the Pittsburgh store to the North Versailles store, because this was when we opened up Exponential, which was also in the Pittsburgh market. So anyway, COVID cut things in half, but we came back roaring very quickly when we offered a stay in your car. This is when we started ditching waiting rooms completely and started advertising our safe practices. We'll go into 2021. We finally hit our first $50,000 month. We are now year 4 of business. And once we hit that 50,000 month, we've never looked back from 50,000. We plateaued a little bit in the 2022 year, back into the 40s, only hitting 50 a couple times that year. All right, and then we'll fast forward to 2023. Now, I admittedly will say that this dip is probably common across a lot of the corporate stores, because this was when I was putting the majority of my energy into franchising and supporting you folks. And so I took my eye off the ball. This is also when Brandon was pulled away as a corporate employee, and we didn't really have a VP of operations on the corporate side. We only had basically territory managers and store managers, and so there wasn't a ton of great oversight. Now, 2023 was when we started, when obviously Michael came in, we started seeing the impacts of me being able to peel away from the franchise system a little bit and put it back into my energy. And then, we totally skipped over 60,000. I will say, admittedly, there was a competing Quick Lube that shut down the street from us, and that's part of the reason why. But as we look at these numbers, we are in year 7 of running the North Versailles location, and we were a hair away from hitting 80,000 for the month in revenue. And it was all built on the back of the video that I posted to the channel yesterday of just being in customer acquisition mode as long as you need to be, right? And that is a very individual experience, however long. You cannot get away from customer acquisition. You have to be in some level of customer acquisition at all times. But how much pain you're willing to take in the beginning in the form of discounting will directly impact the exponential nature of this business, because those oil change intervals will start overlapping. And as we look at the demographics of oil changes and people going longer in between oil changes because they're driving less, plus oil is allowing them to go longer, you're going to see it's going to take more than the 12 to 16 months to get to some of the numbers that you may want to get to. We're also in a more competitive landscape in the Quick Lube space than I've ever seen. It's really strange, to be honest, that there's this much growth in the Quick Lube space with new brands coming in, new franchise systems coming in. We've been at this a lot longer than a lot of the emerging Quick Lube brands. But some of the older brands are even starting to franchise their system, and I think overall it's a positive, but competition does pull cars away from you if your guys are not doing the things that you need them to do. The model itself, it's very important to have the staff that will actually run things the way that it needs to be run for people to come back. I tell my internal employees all the time, it doesn't matter how much, we could give away free oil changes, but if you're a jerk or the store's not clean or you do something that really irks the customer, they're not coming back. It doesn't matter. So then those are just a waste. But when you have people in place that you like and trust and are good employees, these discounting methods pay massive dividends on the back end, which is why I wanted to go through the North Versailles journey to kind of show that, because it originally was a $12,000 a month store. It didn't come out the gates doing these numbers right here. It took a long time to get to those numbers, but it's been doing well for a while. It just took that ramp up period to get to a place, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. And so we'll find out when it plateaus, because North Versailles is a town of 30,000 people. It's not a big town. And so there is a ceiling eventually. We just haven't hit it yet, and I don't expect to. So that's it for this video, guys. I appreciate your time, and please please watch the other video I made the other day on price discovery. And I can't wait to show the May results to kind of show how manipulating numbers even by a couple dollars can change things dramatically. Thanks.